Living in the United States, we often have the impression that the rest of the world is like us. Being in one of the greatest countries on earth, we forget that there are those just a short flight away that suffer every day. People in Honduras are in one of those countries. However, there are those that try to do what they can to improve the conditions of these nations. Ms. Holly Bishop, a first-year Bartow High School Careers and Colleges teacher, is a participant in the Presbytery USA mission trips to Honduras. Honduras is a small country in Latin America bordered by Guatemala, El Salvador, and Nicaragua, and the differences that exist between Honduras and the U.S. are amazing.
In the villages, it's much more of a dusk to dawn or dawn to dusk kind of life. They don't have electricity. They don't have running water. They don't have wood floors. So life is very, very difficult. I never knew what the word arduous meant until I went to Honduras.
Public health system in Honduras is not very developed. And in most of the communities that we go, there are no health centers.
Here, our kids, if you're in high school, you don't hang out with middle school. And if you're in middle school, you certainly don't want to deal with anything with elementary school kids. And the ages are so different. In Honduras, that's not the case. Everybody plays and takes care of everybody else, and it's a real sense of community. It's very difficult to grow crops there. Where they could find a flat area of land, they make a soccer field for their kids.
The people in Honduras live in almost abject poverty, with over 50% of people living in poor conditions. However, the government in Honduras is so corrupt that advancement is almost impossible. The environment of the capital city of Tegucigalpa reflects the poverty and the corruption almost simultaneously.
The first thing that I realized that I'm in a whole different world is there was a little boy, he was probably 8 or 10, and kept asking for money. And he pulled up his shirt, and his belly was scratched and bloody and scabby. And somebody said he did that to himself. And he would do that so that the American tourists or European tourists would give them money. And if you gave them money, they took it and they gambled with it.
Being an American, we often take the small things for granted. So when a person goes to a foreign country like Honduras, they see what life is truly like for others. And for foreigners who see an American, they often have their own impressions of us.
You know, it's like, oh, you're this wonderful American coming here, and they put us up on a pedestal. And it's incredibly humbling because I certainly don't deserve that. It is only through grace that I was born in this country. So I think it is that. It's that fact that you are revered and treated with a respect that I don't know that we've earned.
Despite the cultural and language barriers, the group from Presbytery USA goes to the rural villages every year to bring much-needed medical care and erect new houses and churches, among other things. The most important things this group does is medical missions. The people in the villages rarely get the chance to see a licensed physician, so these Americans are welcomed with open arms. When the volunteers come to Honduras to help with medical missions, they are often greeted with images they may have never dreamed imaginable.
Considering that we go to a lot of very rural areas, they see a doctor when we're there, and that is
we have a doctor that is a Honduran doctor that will work with us. We also have several doctors from the U.S. will go down. The first year that I went there, we went to the nutrition ward. And I took pictures, and I took the pictures in black and white because I wanted people to see the faces. The nutrition ward is where the children that suffer the effects of malnutrition were. And I had never seen that. I'd seen the pictures of it, but when you see a mother holding her child that's like this, and her muscles are spastic because of hunger, when you see children that their bellies are no longer bloated and extended, and you see the children that look like they are survivors of Auschwitz and other things, it breaks your heart.
And I've heard more heart murmurs down there than I care to hear, but there's not a lot that can be done about it.
The parents want their children's pictures to be taken. And I think it's kind of a thing that says as long as someone has a picture, my child is acknowledged.
The most cherished part of any community is its children, and Honduran communities are no exception. However, a large difference exists between the children of Honduras and those of U.S. education.
Cool. And Honduras school is free up until 6th grade as long as you have uniforms. But if you don't have a uniform, there's a problem. After that, you have to pay for it.
Honduran children must pay for their own uniforms, tuition, books, and transportation if they wish to continue their education. Students that do not continue start families at ages 10 and 11. However, Presbyterian USA believes that things can change in Honduras.
Again, to continue to build awareness, to build those bridges, to let those people know that they're not forgotten. One experience that I had was there's a park that has a lot of different monuments and things in it in Tegucigalpa, and one of the things that they have is a replica of the Wailing Wall, and you would write your prayer on a rock and put it in the wall. And I wrote, that I prayed that God would bless our friends in Honduras and that they would have things. And one of our hosts overheard me, and he was overwhelmed that I would have a prayer like that. He just thought that was so amazing, and I'm thinking they're words on a rock. But it is that awareness of going there and saying, you are not alone, you are not forgotten.
I know that some of you may be watching this wondering what you can do to help. There are many things, both at an individual and community level, that we can do to help Presbyterian USA improve the conditions in Honduras.
Ideas. How do we help? Maybe it's we start a program that says we're going to sponsor a couple of kids in school. Or maybe we're going to say, okay, how much do you need for medicine for a medical mission? And by the way, that's about $3,000. And maybe we want to help provide some of those medicines. It is building those connections. It's letting the Honduran people know they're not forgotten, that they are thought about. I think it is to build awareness, to help where I can, to share what I have, and to just be grateful for what we have.